It started like the perfect Sunday morning. You know, the kind light breeze. Coffee in hand. Bob Marley on the Bluetooth speaker. And me mid-dive into my backyard pool. The world felt peaceful. Simple. Until I saw the blink. A little red light. Pulsing like a robotic mosquito just above my hedge line. It was a camera angled perfectly at my pool. Now, I live in a quiet cul-de-sac in Rockfield, Texas. No crime. No traffic. Just a bunch of retirees. BBQs. And overwatered lawns. But someone with too much time and too little sense had installed a surveillance camera aimed directly into my backyard paradise. Dripping wet. I wrapped myself in a towel and opened the HOA app. And there it was, new safety initiative, cameras installed in community corners. But here's the thing, me pool isn't on a corner. And there's no safety threat unless you count the occasional squirrel turf war. And I knew exactly who was behind it. Tracy Bartlett, HOA president. The kind of woman who reports you for having wind chimes that don't match your shutters. She's had it out for me ever since I outbid her brother-in-law on this house and painted the shutters navy instead of regulation beige. The next morning, I marched to the HOA shed, which they've generously renamed the community office, and found Tracy sipping something green and smug. When I brought up the camera, she just blinked and said, "Community safety is everyone's responsibility. Your pool happens to be within a visible line of sight." I nearly laughed. From whose line of sight? The crows. Article 39B of the HOA Code. She snapped. Public sight lines must remain unobstructed. Unreal. Tracy had basically declared that anything she could see, she could regulate. I went home and tore through the bylaws. Turns out 39B was as vague as it sounded, and Tracy was using that loophole to spy on my backyard. So I called my cousin Marco. He builds stage props for theme parks and once made a life-sized inflatable dragon for a comic convention. I asked, "Can we make a giant inflatable wall?" "You want to block a camera with a balloon?" "No. I want to block an HOA dictatorship with the most obnoxiously legal thing possible." He was in. We designed a 10-foot tall, 25-foot wide inflatable vinyl wall covered in flamingos, pineapples, and cartoon waves. The backside, mirror vinyl. The front, a beach party on steroids. I filed for a temporary event installation permit under the HOA rules, the same ones they use for gazebo rentals and block parties. It got approved, probably because Tracy thought I was setting up a luau. By Friday morning, Marco and I were out there at sunrise, inflating this monster. My dog, Boomer, barked like it was the second coming. By noon, the wall was fully up. The camera, now staring directly at inflatable dolphins doing backflips. I took a photo and posted it in the community app with the caption, "Privacy is a beach." 3 minutes later, Tracy appeared at the edge of her yard, gripping her dog's leash like it was a weapon. What is that? I sipped my smoothie. Decor. For a pool party. Approved and permitted. She stared at the permit tacked to my fence post like it was written in Latin. Then she stormed off. That night, the email came in. You are in violation of community aesthetic standards. Inflatable decor exceeding 5 feet must undergo board review. Nice try, Tracy. That rule applied to permanent fixtures. I replied with a screenshot of the temporary clause and a pineapple emoji. But she wasn't done. The next morning, I got 8 separate citations in my mailbox. Everything from excessive pool ripple to improper reflective use and ambient light pollution. It was laughable. So I posted them every last Oneto the HOA forum with the caption, anyone else getting creative love letters from our board? Asking for a friend. And that's when the real fun started. Neighbors began chiming in. Sheila got fined for a hazardous water bowl on her porch. Paul got hit for the shade angle of his umbrella. Tracy wasn't just after Mesh was going full tyrant. Then, jackpot, my doorbell cam caught Tracy herself slipping those citations into my mailbox. That, my friends, is federal. I sent it to my lawyer friend, and he helped me file a privacy violation complaint with the city. 3 days later, a guy named Ron from code enforcement showed up, measured everything, reviewed the permits, saw the footage. Honestly, he said, this is the most entertaining case I've worked in months. Meanwhile, the wall became a local landmark. People came by to take photos. Someone left flamingo cupcakes on my doorstep. A lifestyle blog even ran a piece titled, Backyard Beach Vibes Meet HOA Madness. At the next HOA meeting, Tracy tried to push a new rule banning any structure over 6 feet unless approved by unanimous board vote. I stood up in a Hawaiian shirt and said, this isn't about decor. This is about control. The crowd applauded. One board member whispered to another. They called a vote. The proposal. Rejected. But Tracy went nuclear. Filed for a restraining order. Claiming my wall caused her emotional distress and flamingo-induced anxiety. The judge took one look at the evidence and said, this feels retaliatory. Denied. 2 days later, the camera was quietly removed. No announcement. No apology. Then came the twist. Priya, a board member who had my back, invited me to a strategy meeting. The board had enough. They held a vote and ousted Tracy as president. Her resignation letter blamed the wall, the court, the board, and a decline in neighborhood values fueled by inflatable lawlessness. Priya took over. Her first move. A community survey asking which rules should be changed or deleted. Then came the block party. My backyard. Hawaiian shirts everywhere. Paul handed out koozies that said, free the lawn. Kids splashed in the pool. Sheila brought flamingo cookies. That day, someone from the city zoning office dropped by. She'd followed the whole thing and told me they were revising their HOA surveillance guidelines based on our case. As the sun set, I looked around. Music. Laughter. Neighbors actually talking to each other. All sparked by one ridiculous, glorious, inflatable wall. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with an overreaching HOA? What would you have done if a camera showed up over your pool? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk about it in the comments.